Hello, what is the simplest entry rule for beginners? Let's take an example of NDSN as of May 26, 2026 to explain the simplest rules that I follow as a beginner swing trader. Because I use long uptrend swing trading strategy, the simplest rule that is working for me is to first find stocks that work well with the strategy I'm using. So the simplest rule for you, entryway for you, could be different from mine. It will depend on the strategy you are using. I think depending on, you know, just my opinion here. So I determine my entry point, I determine my exit point, and I first pick stocks that I think are going to work well with the strategy I'm using. And because of long option and swing trading strategy, I found growth stocks to be well suited for that strategy. So I'm right now swing trading large cap stocks, and I filter them and pick stocks that have been around for more than went public for more than a decade or two. That way they went through at least one recession and are still, performing well. And the way I know they are performing well is just through the chart, by looking at their historical chart. In the example of NDSN going to maximum monthly chart, I can see that there is upward growth to that stock. And now having the stock, I will actually swing trade it to see if my strategy is actually working with it. So to do that, I like to determine my entry point and my exit point by default. So first, pick the stock that I think is good with my strategy. Second, determine those extremes, where I want to buy it, where I want to sell it. So when it comes to NDSM, where I like to buy is those long uptrend lines passing by the bottom of the chart. So the support lines, I like to determine my support lines passing by the higher lows of the chart, and the higher lows at the bottom of the chart. So that will be the valley. Because the chart is swinging up and down, when it goes up, you have the peak of the mountain. When it comes down, you have the valley. That's my interpretation of it. So finding the valley, it could have multiples. I'll determine which one I think is long enough for the stock to respect it as the next valley to fall to, and there is the one I want to buy my stock. So I like to change the color of those valleys that I'm willing to pay for the stocks. I like to change the color from the default color, and then I'll do my analysis on a regular basis or weekends until it pulls back or is down climbing up and pull back to that line or any of that line, and I will start buying. When we are looking at NDSN, we pick these higher lows. This low is higher than this. We have the dates on the x-axis from the past to the present, and the price on the y-axis from $0 up. So this low, the price corresponding to it is higher than the price corresponding to this. So this low is higher than this one, and this low is closer to the present. This is far in the past. So you want your current lows to be higher and higher. So this low is higher than this one, which is higher than this one, which is higher than this one, which is higher than this one. So when you put your mouse underneath that low, it should be below the next one. You'll notice that the line is below this one, and so forth. So from here, this is lower than that, this is lower than this is lower than that, and so forth. So I have higher lows from here to here. So now, and then I can just connect the closest 2 point and go across to see which are the lows that is going to touch with, and continue. And I found many of my stock 6 years support line is a good one, and this one is way longer than 6 years. Those dotted line are years, so therefore it's a strong support line here. So I call it to be where I want to buy, and then I'll continue observing. So when we are looking at NDSN, I have a narrow here, so that means I bought it. So I missed my entry point here, and when I was analyzing it and I found it, I noticed that it has not reached the peak yet. When it left this support line, it has not reached all-time highest price, because I'm using maximum chart. All-time highest price tend to be on the chart, and the previous one will be somewhere here for the previous cycle, and then it pull back down. So when it start going up, it didn't exceed that level at this point, so I bought it, even though I wanted to buy it here because I didn't catch it when it was there and it started going up. I bought it, and then it continued, and then it reached all-time highest price already. So buying it somewhere here in December around 120, 134 or 135, it reached 305. How much profit is that? 305 minus 235, $70 profit a share. And I didn't sell it. It pulled back, went up, pulled back, went up again. So because here is my default exit, that means when it reaches all-time highest price, I'll ask myself, do I want to sell it, or do I want to stay in the trade? It will depend on how long I think it's going to continue going up. If it's going to pull back down from there, then it's good for me to sell it. But I think it reached all-time highest price when it breached this price corresponding to this peak here, which will be around 280 or something like that, 281. And then like in February, and then continue all the way still in February here. So to know if it's going to continue going up, I will go back to maximum monthly chart to see more of it. So I have this, the time it touched base with this line, and the time it touched base with here. Because this is in 2020, I don't know if I can rely on this circle here though, but I like to use this as a circle. When it touched base with the valley and come back to the valley, one circle, it reached the peak somewhere there. So it went up, pulled back, went sideways here and went up again, and then pulled back down. But it did this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Is it going to do it in 5 years again? I don't know. At this point, what I like to do is I'm looking at this peak here, which is 272, and this one is 281. So pretty much about $10 difference there. But between that, it came down and went sideways here for 2 years. So I don't know if it's going to repeat this or not, so I can just rely on this. But the thing is, from this cycle, it reached all-time highest price for this previous peak, that will be this one, and it breached here and then continue for 2 years, like 1 year, 2 years. So therefore, since it reached all-time highest, it pretty much started somewhere here. So we are like 1 year in. Does that make sense? So therefore, I will say 1 year in. If it's going to do that for about 2 years, it might be too early for me to sell it. So by default, that is where I want to sell it. But then I'll ask myself, do I want to sell it or stay in the trade longer? And in this instance, there is a chance that it might continue going up for about 2 years. So therefore, I will want to stay in the trade little bit longer for that. And if it's going to go sideways here for few more years, because of not much difference between those two peaks, I don't think it's make much sense for me to stay in the trade past 2 years if it's going to go sideways like this, because again it's going to drop from 272 to 196 for about 2 years here before going back to 281 or so. Again, does not mean it's going to do the same, but I think the first 2 years from the valley climbing up is good enough for me that if it's going to do the same cycle again, I can stay in it for the first 2 years and then get out before that 2 years is up. Maybe a year and a half, a year and a three-quarter, and then just sell it and be happy with my profits. Again, because they are the same stocks that I'm swing trading, if I get out now, it will be few years before I will find it again at the valley. That's why I'm trying to see if after it reach all-time highest price, if it's okay for me to stay in the trade longer or sell and get out. Because if I get out too early, I might have to wait for a while before I find it again where I want to buy. And it is a learning process. One, learning to determine the valley line, because it can be tricky for some stocks when they have a sharp growth to find what line is the value. You might have multiple to choose from, and right now I'm coming to the conclusion that if I have multiple lines and I'm not sure which one is it, I can select those few and just buy at each one of it. If it's coming down, I'm okay being negative or paying a higher price from the first line that I buy at, and from first support line that I buy at all the way, and then go up from there. And then learning more about where to sell. I think one possibility would be to sell some share and then hold on to the rest and sell it later. But I'm not buying a lot of share to begin with, at least not at this point. So therefore, I just like to see if I can stay in the trade a little bit longer and sell all. But there is a stock that recently let me see, that's this one. Yeah, it is all-time highest price, and I don't know if it's going to continue or not. I purchased it around this support line. It pulled back. I purchased it again, and then it came down here and did all of that. So not knowing if it's going to continue going up, I sold because by default, when you sell a portion of the share, is going to sell the first one we purchased. So I sold the number of shares I purchased here around that area. That's why I have that upside down arrow there. So I sold this and I'm holding on to this one to see if it's going to continue going up. Then I didn't get out of the trade too early and I can just learn from it. So that is, we talk about the SD point here, but that is how I'm finding my the simplest way to enter trade. So what about you? Based on the strategy you use to swing trade, what is the simplest way for you to enter a trade? Thank you so much for watching our videos. And when it comes to NDSN, because I bought it here, it's not the time for me to sell. It's not the time for me to buy. I already purchased it, and again, my best entry is around this line, and right now it seems to be following this support line, climbing the mountain up. And but yeah, I'm just going to continue observing it. Yeah, thank you so much for your time. We thank you very much for watching our videos. Thank you for all your comments, and we thank you very much for subscribing to our channel. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting LLC YouTube channel, and in sub.com our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence. And swing trading stocks could be another stream of income over time. Just start small and grow your account from there. And as a disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional trader. I just swing trade in my husband and I joint account with the goal to reach financial independence and create a stream of income through swing trading or investment in the stock market. And I like to share what is working for me, what is not working, and my skills, my learning here with you, so that you can find few tips that you can improve and use in your own financial success journey. So will you please use our information at your own discretion and practice caution. Thank you so much for your time. For more videos in this series, will you please check our playlist How to Start Swing Trading Step by Step using long option line in the description of this video. And this video is brought to you by our online store, Liberman.com. We sow to sell. That is another way we like to generate revenue by having a business. And if you are looking for tote bag or cloth napkin, will you please visit our online store, Liberman.com. So thank you so much for your time. Happy swing trading.